clutching you so tight, afraid to lose. I retreat more each night. Where is my voice? I've muted myself, and in my shyness, it's you I repel. I will find my way to express my voice. I must find my way to ignite my spark. Find my way to me, so we can be we. Find my way. The fractures between us rise into view. I cling to the scraps of the care that falls through. Where is my strength? I've crumbled apart, hiding from the truth. I've shattered my heart, but I will find my way to regain my strength. I must find my way to restore my will. Find a way to me, so we can be we. Find my way. Here is this moment to take a chance, to go on alone or grow and advance. I will find my way to express my voice. I must find my way to ignite my spark. Find my way to me, so we can be we. Find my way. I will find my way to regain my strength. I must find my way to restore my will. Find my way to me, so we can be we. Find my way. Find my way. I'll find my way.
Happy Sunday, everybody. Thank you for finding your way to my show. This is Sunday Live, and I am Caleb. And each week I bring you new musicians and artists that you may not have heard and give a little interview, show some of their work, and then we have an after party where we loosen our shirts and talk a little bit more broadly about the artist's background and maybe their origin story, maybe some more abstract work that they've done. And yeah, cool. Well, so our guest this week, I am not going to even pronounce his name or any of the songs in the show. He's going to have to do that. But I'm going to do Adil. Hopefully I'm close. Composer, producer, and beat maker. So how do you pronounce your name? You said it quickly and kind of like one piece.
Good morning. Hello, everyone. So my name is Diaz Adil. Adil is my surname. Most of the cases, people just, kind of call me Adil by my surname, but that's also fine because, actually both of them are names. Yeah, hello, and I'm glad to see you as well. And it's an honor for myself to be a participant of your show.
Now, Adil, you are calling in from Kazakhstan, which is something like 13 hours time difference. What time of day is it?
Yeah, there's I guess like almost 13-hour time difference. It's 6 a.m. in the morning right now, Monday, November 23rd.
So, folks, we're noticing some vocal video out of syncness here. I think it's just the distance and the transmission with the Zoom call, or it might be something to do with my local Mac here because I was having some trouble earlier. But we're going to soldier on with the sync. But just so you know that the fact that the audio and video is not syncing up during the interview is something we're seeing here, and I think is we're going to consider normal.
Yep.
So you, I, I was introduced to you by Forrest, who runs the laptop music production group in out of San Jose, California, and I could swear I got to hear some of your pieces in 2000, late 2018 or 2019.
Yep. I've been actually attending the so production music, laptop music production meetup for about quite 5 years. We started doing this when there was just only like a couple of folks, and Forrest was there. She was at the beginning of this community, and yeah, I've been there like around like 4 years. And last time I attended the meetup in person was in 2019. Since that time, I came back to Kazakhstan, and I've been actually able to attend this meetup several times as well, but using the Zoom conference tool. And yeah, I still miss these days. That was a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a great community getting feedback. So how it would work was we all show up, we all submit a song, and you might have 20, 30 people in the room who are all listening to your song and giving you feedback. It could be composition feedback, could be production feedback, and we get 2 hours of giving feedback to each other and sharing with each other so that our production work grows and gets refined.
Yeah, that's a pretty correct statement. I approve that I actually gained a lot of knowledge, a lot of technical skills by just attending this meetup. Based on this feedback, I've been able
If you live in the San Francisco,
sorry. Yeah, continue.
no problem. Halfway around the planet, it'll be tricky.
Yep.
Just saying that the group is a great community, and if you have the opportunity, if you're in the San Francisco Bay Area, especially the South Bay, to attend future workshops after COVID, I highly recommend it. For now, they're doing them online, so you have no excuse no matter where you are in the world. Have you been joining the online ones?
Yeah, I do my best to attend each of the meeting, but sometimes because of the time difference, it's just too close to my working hours. I work as a IT guy by the day, and by the night I'm doing my own stuff, like doing some sound production. And yeah, I try my best to, uh, yeah, join them anytime I could.
Cool. I'm going to play one song here, during today's episode, I'm not going to attempt to pronounce any of the songs except for maybe the last two. I'll just go ahead and show the video or play the song, and then afterwards, and
Yeah.
then afterwards, have you give us the name. Okay.
Okay. That's fine.
All right. Cool.
Totally.
Here's the first one.
Көргенде танымайсың, сен мені байқамайсың, тағдырға асықпайсың, жаныңды тыңдамайсың, ойыңды ешкімге ашпайсың. Адасып келемін мен, маған қарашы бір сен, түсінгім келеді менің, кімсің маған, саған кіммен. Өзгеге ұқсамайсың, шолпандай жарқырайсың, ешкімді сағынбайсың, бір сағымды аңсайсың, сен өзіңді алдайсың. Адасып келемін мен, маған қарашы бір сен, түсінгім келеді менің, кімсің маған, саған кіммен. Адасып келемін мен, маған қарашы бір сен, түсінгім келеді менің, кімсің маған, саған кіммен. Тағдырға асықпайсың, маған, саған кіммен. Ойыңды ешкімге ашпайсың, маған, саған кіммен. Бір сағымды аңсайсың, маған, саған кіммен. Сен өзіңді алдайсың, маған, саған кіммен. Адасып келемін.
All right. Go ahead, Adil. Go ahead and unmute. Okay. Cool. So, tell us a little bit about that track.
Yeah, so this track is the very first track I actually did, and it was made, let me tell you, when I first visited US, it was in 2015, and partially I made this track because, I mean, for us, just because you're living on the other side of the planet, it's always like, exciting to be to get to get there to be in US. And probably I was so overwhelmed and so excited about visiting US that I just simply wrote this song like in about like a couple of hours, I guess. And the thing is that uh, the,
Wow.
the instrumental was made separately from the lyrics, and only about like a couple months after I met these guys, Honorabai family. It's pronounced as Honorat by family, and this is a duo of brother and sister. They are based in Almaty. That's the ex-capital of Kazakhstan. And by this time, they were also embarking on their career, musical career. And for them, it was also a first song as well, their debut single. And basically, the name of the song is Kumsen, which translates into "Who are you?" And as she said, that song was that it was written, you know, also, there's a story. Yeah, I mean, she used to be liking one guy, and this guy was not, paying any attention to BB, and this made her to, write the lyrics. And then when we just met, we just tried to, put lyrics on top of the instrumental, and it just fit from the first time. And we recorded that song basically in 2 days. And then we just released the song, and up until now, this song lives by its own life, I would say. It's like I have some other projects. They have some other projects as well. Like we are doing a mini EP here, and each time this track keeps surprising us by like something happens to that like every time. The last thing that we had about this track was that there's a guy whose name is Aysultan Seitov. He is Kazakh as well, but he's based in LA. He's doing some movie, how do I say, music videos for guys like 21 Savage. I guess I'm pronouncing this correct. And he had used this song in his own work. That's actually autumn winter fashion show for the Yves Saint Laurent, and he decided to choose exactly this song as a soundtrack for this video, which was yeah, it was a surprise for us.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm, Also,
Yeah.
just
Sometimes
recently,
a song just takes on a life of its own.
yeah, that's totally what it is. It's like stuff happens to this song on itself. I mean, we're not even doing anything for the song. And there's a small remark that why I actually recorded this song. I mean, I started doing music for one basic reason. Here in Kazakhstan, and I could say in CIA region, in countries that are close to us, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Russia, people are, they're used to toy songs, I would say. Those are the songs that are played at the wedding. So they're basically like, like fast-paced, like uts, kind of, And I just wanted to show people that Kazakh music could be like really different. And I was trying myself, I was trying to do some real weird stuff. And I guess up until now, people are still discovering these songs, and you know, as I said, it's just living its own life, which is pretty cool.
I I was joking with a friend of mine yesterday that in the electronic world, it seems like a song gets released and it takes about 2 years for the public to really notice it. As far as independent tracks, it's like people eventually discover this track and then they sort of adopt it on their own and run with it. And, maybe it's get some sync, whether it's in live performance like this runway show or in a video. And then all of a sudden starts building, and it can take 2 or 3 years for an electronic track to do that. And you never know when a sleeper 5 years later will start being your number one track. Like maybe you have a track you think is, oh, that's been the number one attention and streaming and whatnot for years, and all of a sudden it becomes number two, and there's a B-side or some other track that you've put out there for whatever reason. Maybe I had a gamer take an instrumental track that was the end of an album, and he put that in his gaming video that he put up on Twitch, and all of a sudden I see all people starting to stream that track more. So you never know once you release music what's going to happen. And I like to equate it to like having a child and having a kid. At first, when you're raising a kid, they're kind of an extension of you. There's a relationship there. And at a certain point, the kid moves on and goes off college or
Yeah,
moves halfway around the planet and, gets its own life.
yeah, yeah.
And you're
Totally
like,
agree.
I'm a proud parent. and I have a couple songs in my catalog that they're not the kids I thought were going to be successful, and there was the kids that showed so much promise and they didn't go anywhere, and the kids that were like fooling around, didn't really have their stuff together, turned out to
Yeah.
be the top played songs.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm going to play another track here, and again, we'll have you tell us a bit about the track after.
Көп жылдар өтті арадан, сені іздедім бүкіл қаладан. Менің жүрегім қатты жаралы, сағынып сені әнін салады. Сен мені ұмыттың ба? Өзгені жылыттың ба? Алыстады менен қадамым, мұңға толды ғой менің жанарым. Көзден көрмедім көңілдің сырын, енді сезімді әнімнен ұғып. Сен мені ұмыттың ба? Өзгені жылыттың ба?
All right. So how do you pronounce the name of that track?
So this one is a bit tricky. It's pronounced as Umutumba. So basically, this is a question in Kazakh. I hadn't mentioned that before. The first song comes in, and this one, they're both an example how modern Kazakh language sounds like. And particularly on the second track, Umutumba, you could see a lyrics video, and we used to be having Cyrillic alphabet, and then recently we switched it back to the Latin. So this is how it looks like when you are writing stuff in Kazakh.
Now, when you say back to Latin, is that does that go all the way back to Alexander's roaming around that region? That there was Greek influence, or because did the Romans make it that far east?
No, it's just you see, we have like a pretty hard history as a nation. We used to be first having our alphabet in Arabic. There are some people still who are, using Arabic hieroglyphs to write in Kazakh, but this is mainly older generations. And then we switched to Cyrillic. Oh, we had a Latin, and then we switched to Cyrillic when we were a part of USSR. And then just recently we decided to, go back to the roots and start using Latin as our alphabet. And it's gonna take some time for us to, completely switch to that.
I can imagine the United States when I was growing up was switching to uh, the metric system for measurements. Now, the funny thing about it is the United States has metric money. Americans will sometimes go on and on how they can't figure out the metric system, but every day they spend 100 pennies to $1. I mean, you're doing metric all day long, but and everything was switching from the English system of feet and hands and stones and all this sort of stuff in the late 70s and the early 80s. For some odd reason, it became patriotic to stick to the old British system that the British didn't even use anymore versus metric. So
Wow.
we're kind of the odd man out there. And
Yeah.
British money didn't become metric until 1968, and yet the U.S. had metric money its entire history. Anyhow, so so yes, changing standards that is tricky, and to change which character set you're using to
Mhm.
write down the language you're speaking, that's huge. That's a huge change.
Yeah, I mean, it impacts even the way of, thinking. Um, it's just, uh, there's like a long story about this one. It's just partially connected to politics, which is, kind of always messed up. And just a few words about this track.
Sure.
That was actually, yeah, yeah. That's the second track I released, like in a um, order. And the guy who is uh, the guy who is singing, it's a friend of mine. Uh, and this is kind of the song, uh, if the first song sounds like, kind of uh, listening to it from now, from a current perspective, I would probably, change a lot of stuff here because it was my first experience and probably I made a lot of mistakes, like, in terms of sound design, in terms of, kind of all that stuff. But with the second track, it's like I really like it, even though it's not that popular. For myself, it's just there's nothing I could add to this song or could change in this song. For myself, just sounds like totally complete. And again, whole there's a story behind this song. It's also related to some time in my life when I was living in Bay Area as well. I still remember the place. It's Campbell in Bay Area, the two-story house that this song was recorded in. That was actually a great time as well.
Yeah, I grew up in San Jose, and so I know Campbell and that whole South Bay area. And then in '98, I moved up to Oakland. And while I'd been in what I call maybe mid Bay, I started living there in '98. Definitely got Oakland, Berkeley, San Francisco under what was it? Dirt on my hands, maybe is the phrase. And that became very much home. And then the last 5 years before moving to Seattle was in the North Bay. So yeah, it's funny. Campbell used to have this sign saying "San Jose people go home." It was San Jose was buying up all these little towns like Willow Glen, blah 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 blah, over the 20th century, and Campbell decided they didn't want to get incorporated, so they considered themselves an island, and literally like San Jose wraps around it. And so they felt very, very strongly
Yeah,
about their
that's
town.
for sure.
So I'm going to play another song here. I just want to note that my Aunt Cindy is joined and said the second song, she said, sounds very beautiful.
Thank you, Cindy.
Что есть мы тени и пыль, почти погасшие огни. Доживем до весны, мы должны проснуться после зимы. Я не брошу надежду, никому не расскажу, как выглядит твоя душа. Из пепла воскресну и зажгу искры внутри тебя.
So what was that track called?
So this track
Oh.
is called, you hear me?
I can hear you.
Cool. So this song, the name of the song is written in Russian. Probably as you can hear, it's also being sung in Russian. The translation of the title is To Kiss. Basically, you just call it like a kiss. It's performed by a friend of mine, Aidana, whose stage name is Aidance. This track is kind of more recent than the previous ones. It was recorded basically like a year ago in the summer. So I just stumbled upon Aidana. I saw her Instagram profile, and I was immediately excited about how beautiful her voice is, and I just decided, to connect. So I just sent her a message, and it all started just from a message in Instagram. And we actually have recorded like around 5 songs, but released just one of them. We are now working on the rest of the songs. Yeah, I just again I was trying to make a really like catchy pop song with the airy vocals, with the kind of airy ambience or vibes, how you say. Yeah, so this song is like pretty much radio oriented, I would say.
Now you said you did the first song we played tonight about 5 years ago when you had come to the United States. And had you done music before that?
No, before it was just, kind of a hobby, I would say. I would just, kind of turn on some instruments, just jam over something, and that's it. But then I started trying to, do some like my own stuff to come up with melodies and by this I just started, practicing more and more, and I can say that currently it's way bigger than just a hobby because I'm seeing that, people like it, and probably I should try keeping up with what I'm doing.
It's really good and it's diverse. A lot of folks in electronic music will stick to one micro genre, right? It would be like, I am a
Yeah,
trance house hop beat maker, and that's
yeah,
all I do. That's my community, man. I don't talk to those trance sub dub house people at all. Um,
yeah,
in pop music, people are like, oh, country, rock, western, okay. But electronic music is crazy with its categories and how niche it can be. And what I really like about your music is it's obvious that you're exploring different subgenres. That last track reminded me of really like the 2000s before the United States had the housing crisis and the Great Recession, I think is what we're calling it now, where everybody lost their shirts in the Bay Area and businesses were closing. And but before that, there were some really cool nightclubs like the Supper Club, SF, and that last track just made me think I could see it. Is as if I just walked in. They had a forward bar with all like red leather and big
yeah.
glass centerpiece. It's like that whole scene. I'm like, he nailed that.
Thank you. Um, The thing is that this is probably would be a tribute to the 90s pop music, which we're used to be listening to here in CIA region. And many people actually told me that we were having like, huge 90s music vibes when we were listening to this track. And that was actually my aim to, kind of, this song is kind of reminiscing of these times, even though I was a kid at this time. I was basically born in 91. So it's just kind of memories I had from from my childhood, kind of memories of the music, how it sounded back in these times. And currently it's like totally different. And I just wanted to, do some close tribute to these times.
Do you? I wonder if there might be some people who listen to the track that actually think it's from the 90s.
I mean, some people told like, where was that released even, It sounds like all 90s.
I was just thinking you could be like, you can rewrite your story and say, oh, yeah, as an 8-year-old in Kazakhstan, I produced this track, and it got really big, and didn't just say one of the 14 different provinces, to say it got really big in province X, right? Now, give it like the most rural province that no one can verify. Oh, it was huge there.
That sounds like a plan.
Now, speaking of Kazakhstan, I think I don't think many Americans are fully aware of Kazakhstan, and certainly with my generation, it was just considered like a province of the Soviet Union. And growing up watching the space race, or even the last decade, right, where everybody outside of China was going to Kazakhstan to get on a Soyuz rocket to get to the International Space Station. The images we have of Kazakhstan is this big, huge grass field that the capsules come back down in, or that people get on trucks and drive out to a Soyuz and climb on board, and up you go. So I thought I would inject here a little bit about Kazakhstan, and I'm going to have some more in the after party. So don't take this one too seriously. But this is a little piece. When I was looking for something that was short, I saw a lot of stuff that was 20 minutes long. I'm like, I just want a 3-minute thing on Kazakhstan. And this is not the most informative video, but it's got such a catchy song to it. I had to play it. And for folks who are watching this that don't know where in the world Kazakhstan is, watch in the first 5 seconds, you'll see a map and you'll see where it is. The rest of the song, you have no context, but you're going to learn every single region and its capital.
We're the Central Asian country of Kazakhstan, made up of 14 regions that we will teach you, that's the plan. We're the Central Asian country of Kazakhstan. We're the 9th largest country, we hope you are a fan. I am Amora, a centrally located region. Karchitau is my capital and I sing the best I can. Etov is my name, a Kazakhstani region here. Etovia is my capital, it's where the star appears. I am Almaty, a region in the southeast. Dildikorgan's my capital, this is where it will be. Atirau is my name, a southwestern region you see. Atirau is my capital, it is beautiful, visit me. East Kazakhstan region, yes, that is my name. Oskamen is my capital, to remember is the game. We're the Central Asian country of Kazakhstan, made up of 14 regions that we will teach you, that's the plan. We're the Central Asian country of Kazakhstan. We're the 9th largest country, we hope you are a fan. I'm the Jembia region, that's who I am. Teres is my capital, This country is my jam. I'm Karaganda region. In the center now you know. Karaganda is also the name of my capital. I am Kostane region in northern Kazakhstan. Kostane is my capital, and this is where it stands. Kizorda region is how you pronounce me. Kizorda is my capital, now you plainly see. I'm in Gistol region, located in the southwest. Aktau is my capital, and I wish you all the best. We're the Central Asian country of Kazakhstan, made up of 14 regions that we will teach you, that's the plan. We're the Central Asian country of Kazakhstan. We're the 9th largest country, we hope you are a fan. I am North Kazakhstan, I am here to tell you that my capital Petropavl is on the scene too. Pavlodar is my name, I am in the northeast. Pavlodar is my capital, you must come and see. South Kazakhstan region, I'm located in the south. Shamkent is my capital, if you learn this from my mouth. I'm West Kazakhstan region, located in the northwest. Orol is my capital, to me it is the best. I am Kazakhstan, thanks for learning about me. Astana is my capital, now let's all sing in key. We're the Central Asian country of Kazakhstan, made up of 14 regions that we will teach you, that's the plan. We're the Central Asian country of Kazakhstan. We're the 9th largest country, we hope you are a fan.
Thanks for watching Kids Learning Tube. Please subscribe to my channel here, purchase my music on iTunes here to support my channel, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram by clicking the links on the banner above.
So if you missed that in school, here's a kids training class on Kazakhstan to help you understand the 14 regions and their capitals.
I'm actually quite surprised by this video. I've never seen anything like that. Like, it's just like kind of so weird to hear that in English, you know, kind of. Also in the form of a song. That's kind of that's cool. It was a nice idea. Yeah, I mean,
One of the
just
one of the
clearly
other reasons I
Yep. Move on, please.
go ahead. Go ahead. I was just going to say that it reminded me of a song that Forrest would have written. It just had like her style about it. And so I thought, oh, this is perfect. It's Kazakhstan. I know him through Forrest, and it's just fun. So throw it in there. But you were
Yeah.
you were saying you're like, this is not anything you've encountered.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought like there would be like, you know, some kind of video, like, you know, like a ton of other videos about the countries, but couldn't expect this one. But looks cool still.
And now you guys all have that stuck in your head because that is a catchy tune.
Yeah.
Was any of the music based on a scale that is popular in Kazakhstan, or was that just a total Westerner writing something?
I didn't quite actually understand the question.
The melody had a certain scale to it, and I
Oh, yeah,
wasn't sure if the writer was actually borrowing from a Kazakh kind of scale and chords.
I wouldn't say so. This is kind of, you know, some just basically the Kazakh music, the traditional Kazakh music is quite different. And I mean, if you're interested, just Google it. There's like, let me tell you, around 50 or 60 national instruments that came to our time. I mean, there could be probably even more, but yeah, I mean, there's like The main instrument, the main Kazakh instrument is, of course, dombra. This is like how do I say? It's string instrument. It has two strings. It's a wooden instrument as well, and it pretty much looks like a guitar with two strings, but just because the strings are made of nylon now, and back in times it was kind of it was made from how do I say? I mean, it was made from natural. Oh gosh, it was made from horses.
Animal.
Hair of horse. I guess, like kind of. There was some technique. Yeah, and basically it has a different vibe. The Kazakh music, I would say.
Do you ever incorporate Kazakh music in your own work?
Um, so far, it's not that obvious. I mean, I only used national instruments like in a couple of songs, but I've been always thinking about this constantly. I, in fact, have written some kind of a symphony. That's the only symphony I have written so far, and I have a huge plans on adding a whole traditional orchestra section to that song, to that symphony, so that it would sound like full and complete. The main idea behind the song was I was kind of feeling homesick when I was back in the US, and I just written this song like using only the traditional instruments from different countries, like like sitar from India, like for example Turkish lute, I guess. Yeah, like Latin bass, Chinese ergu, and so on. And yeah, I'm just planning to finish this song by adding some uh, orchestral sounds.
Cool. And so Asana's up north. That's the current capital, and the historical capital is, how do you say, Alamani?
Almaty, Almaty.
Almaty. And that's,
Yeah.
if you guys watch the video very clearly, it's in the southern right corner. And you have, I saw one video that was talking about the ballet and symphony hall in Alamety.
Talking about what?
Venues for music in your region. Is it possible for new artists such as yourself to get a composition performed?
Yeah, I mean, if you are asking, like, Almaty is the creative capital of Kazakhstan. Basically, the music industry is largely based in Almaty. Also, it's one of the biggest cities in Kazakhstan. It was for a long time, it was a capital of Kazakhstan, and only like, some time ago, it switched to Astana, which is in the north, as you said. And yeah, I mean, in Almaty, there's pretty much a lot of creative folks. And I mean, when I have time, I just go there myself as well.
I was thinking about, speaking of the San Francisco Bay Area and your visit there, when I was growing up there was a little age difference between us. When I was growing up there was nowhere to get your music played. The San Jose State University, if you shook the right hands, you might be able to get a piece played on the university stage, which still was pretty provincial. The only way you could get works is if you went up to San Francisco or Berkeley. That's where the real action was happening. So you hit San Jose at the right time because there was a there by the time you showed up. They were still rebuilding
Cool.
San Jose when I was at university. So it was great to come back to the South Bay year before this last, and spend a little time there and meet you guys at the Laptop Production Group, and see live bands playing on the street and in parks. And I was like, wow, I wish we had this when I was a kid. So, all right. So I'm looking at some comments up here, but we got another track for you folks, and here it goes.
Breathing in and breathing out light, letting go of the old and fear. I dare to see crystal clear, even if no one else is there for me. Quiet your thoughts, observe a bigger picture to find that you deserve more than your mind has tricked you to perceive as true. Take off that mask, shed all the layers that don't serve you anymore. Doubt all beliefs and replace them with the ones you chose. Quiet your thoughts, observe a bigger picture to find that you deserve more than your mind has tricked you to perceive as true. Quiet your thoughts, I am not mine. Observe a bigger picture to find that you deserve more than your mind has tricked you to perceive as true.
Again, another example of how much range you have in what you're composing.
Thank you. So let
And
me
for folks just
tell
tuning
you.
in, we are
Sorry.
we're our guest is in Kazakhstan, so we're having a little bit of audio and video sync, and that's expected. So no need to let me know that that's happening. So you were going to say about the track?
Yeah, this track, that's the first single of our upcoming album. Um, Particularly in this project, I'm working as a composer and producer for the debut album of my friend Karina Ivanova. You could actually find this track. The name is Taking Off Masks, and it's written by Karina Ivanova. And I would say that this is my most serious most serious work in terms of how much knowledge I gained just by working on this project. We started right at the time when I came back from US, and I just, just because we were living in the same small town, I used to be, I was familiar with what Karina was doing, but we never were, kind of acquainted before. And again, I just decided to contact her through Instagram, and she was very excited. We had a cup of coffee, and then we just decided to, work together. And I would say that working with Karina is uh, just great. I would say we're kind of like soulmates. I don't have to kind of even do a lot of takes or record like a lot of versions. It's just whatever I do is usually she likes that, and it helps us to kind of save time to work like kind of more in synchro, I would say. And we released this track before there was a pandemic, and as we joke now, like the title of the song is just kind of profitable. uh, and yeah, it's just that's I mean, I like there's a lot of sounds actually used in this song. Even some records from there was a friend of Karina who was playing some wind instrument, and we just even managed to put this sound as well into the song. And
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that
yeah, I just wanted to say that you were saying about the range is just this range is made by all these projects I'm working with, and whenever there's a new opportunity, whenever there's a new project, it's just pretty much fun to to delve into a new genre, to try some things that you never actually tried before. And I also would say that I listen to a lot of music, like a lot of different music. I also was studying in music school for 5 years. For 5 years, I was doing dombra class. As I mentioned before, that's the main Kazakh instrument. And by going to this music school, I got used to, not like kind of got used to. I really loved the classical music, the traditional music, the ethno music, and only then I started to, kind of getting familiar with electronic music, with beats and stuff. And I'm still kind of interested in different type of music. It's just because I love it. I'm trying things.
it shows in your work that you are exploring music itself, and through your collaborations you're going into different genres, and yet there's still a thread that comes through, which I would describe as a maybe an energy or an attitude that just has this lovingness and this lushness to it. Whether, like the last piece, it was a more classical arrangement versus the first or second track that was more of a pop sensibility. It's still, I don't know, you definitely have a style no matter who you're working with and which genre you're focused on it with the instrumentation, and that's a really powerful thing. So I'd say that puts you into the composer category, or you have someone says, that's that composer. No matter who you're working with, you have your fingerprint on it.
This is kind of a thing I think that you are not like doing deliberately, but it's just kind of comes off your hands. It's I actually never thought that doing like something like with the own style, but it's just whatever comes from your mind, I guess.
I quite often get, no matter what I do, if I'm like, this is a heavy metal track, this is a pop track, everybody will say, you write great 80s songs. Because I've tried to do completely different. Well, okay, sometimes I'll do something completely off the wall that will sound different. But a lot of my stuff, it's like sometimes you approach things in a certain way, and your influences come up through you into your music. All right, we have one more song here, and I'm going to start playing that now. Just checking the message. Sharon says, very relaxing, love your music. So
Thanks,
shout out
thanks.
from Sharon.
Thanks, Sharon.
Waves were singing their eon zero song.
And the file on that is called Waves 2. Is that the name of the track? Oh, I was asking if Waves 2 is the name of the composition. Or is that
So
just the file name?
yeah, that's the name of the song is actually Waves. The number 2 is just it's kind of a version, you know. As I told you, I'm by the day I'm working as a software engineer, and just like every other software engineer, we just have a versioning here, and this is a version number 2 of the song, and it's still kind of, you know, comparing to the previous track, Taking Off Masks. This one is not completely finished, but it's very close. I would say like around 90% of completeness. We still have to, you know, do some stuff here and there, but overall, pretty much it's almost finished. And I also would like to point out that particularly in this song, I made a kind of a small tribute to the music of one of my favorite bands. It's American band called The National, which I'm a huge fan of. I've been, you know, following the band since almost since their inception, and I'm really glad to be like, you know, witnessing how they were like, you know, kind of a niche band. They were kind of not that popular, and right now they're one of the, you know, innovative bands in terms of, you know, sound production, like lyrics and everything else. I just incorporated a small, there's a part towards the end when the outro begins. There's a sound of this 808, like, you know, and that was taken from the song by National, which is called Walk It Back, I guess. Oh, sorry, no, it's Born to Back. Sorry, yeah, Born to Back. And yeah, it's just, you know, I'm a huge fan of this group, and I just thought that it would be nice to, you know, kind of make a small tribute in terms of instrumentation.
I love it when an artist does a little tip of the hat to people that are influencing them.
Yeah. Also, what I wanted to say that here, I mean, this song started pretty much like an acoustic song. There was just only piano and only the voice, the vocals. And then we just start, you know, putting some layers, and it all turned out to be like to this kind of how it sounds like right now. There's a lot of instrument, there's a lot of, you know, acoustic instruments, orchestral instruments. We even, you could probably hear that again in the outro. We're even recording harmonica. It was played by Karina herself. And yep.
It's very subtle. You know, when you hear the track, you hear a female lead singer, you hear piano playing. Okay, there's some drums there. Like you said, there's a lot of different instruments and a lot of different stuff. It'd be very easy for this track and someone putting that many parts into it for it to just become mud or chaos. And yet you put all these ingredients in it, but it's still like very open, and nothing distracts you from the vocals. It's like it keeps you interested, but you don't even know why, just underneath, because these new elements are coming to your ear. Very subtle.
Thank you, thank you. I'm actually really glad to hear that, because, you know, like sound engineering is a whole different area, right? And I'm still mastering my skills in sound mastering and mixing and stuff. And yeah, it's just The other thing is just one other thing I would like to point out is just we have the same vision of how this album should sound. And one of the things we were working hard during the recording of this album is that we would like this album to be as solid as possible so that all of the songs are like kind of different, but at the same time they are the same. They have this kind of how I don't know, wholeness, or it's some of the things that I would say our favorite bands are like incorporating in their own songs. We would like we would like this album to be as conceptual as we can do this. And one other thing is just, in my own opinion, a good producer is kind of like a good designer, right? So basically, I mean, a small, how would say, a small part of which is just when you are doing a design, you are not like doing some kind of art. There's exact aim of what design should do, and as a designer, you should just do what it takes to be done. And as a producer, I could, in other words, I could put some, kind of weird electronic stuff here. I mean, if it was just me, my own decision, I would probably put some weird stuff here. But just because we are doing a debut album for Karina, I just wanted these songs and the whole album in general to sound as close as Karina would like it to be, like, sound. And again, that told me a lot, as a producer, you are doing stuff that not into your own kind of taste, but mainly you are just allowing the person, the vocalist, to clearly show their own vision. So I was just helping Karina to, put all of these songs in a form of album.
You make a very good point about the producer musician. Many producers are very talented musicians and composers themselves. And when you bring that to the table, the question is how much of your own style of music do you bring to the project with another artist? Very famously, David Bowie's Let's Dance album, Nile Rodgers is all over that, and that album would not be what it is without Nile Rodgers. And I think many Bowie albums, that's the case. Luther Vandross with Young Americans. And there's a line there, which I would say, looking back, Young Americans is Luther's album, and Let's Dance is Nile Rodgers' album. And yet there are other Bowie albums where that's not the case, where you get a little bit more of Bowie's influence versus the producers. How are you making that call of how far to go with her material and how much of yourself to put in it versus highlighting what she's bringing?
You see, I think the main advantage of working with Karina is that each song was made like completely under her supervision. I mean, even not like kind of a supervision. Whatever I was recording, she was also like, by my side, and she was constantly hearing what I'm doing. And that's why there was a couple of moments when I was like, adding some weird stuff. As I said, like, I'm kind of more into electronic music, but at the same time, I do love every other styles. And there was a couple moments when she was like, maybe that's too much. Like, but at the other cases, yeah, at the other cases, it's just like, yeah. I mean, most of the songs we recorded, like, kind of with no hassle. I'm just doing stuff, and then she's like, that's like totally the thing I would like to hear. I mean, it's just I'm lucky that we are kind of, on the same level. We have same preferences in music. We do listen to the same type of music as well. And I think that really helps a lot. We just do stuff really quick, and we both like how it turns out to be in the end.
That's ultimately the goal, right? You both walk away and say, we did something really cool here, and we like it. When you can listen to your own album, sometimes it takes me a year before I can actually hear one of my recordings or an album. I have to be away from it some time, not to hear all the little flaws that no one else is going to hear, not to hear all the 50,000 million decisions that you've made from the beginning to the end, and to just hear it as a piece of music. And there have certainly been ones I've put out that a year later I was like, I'm not a fan. And my last full album last year, outside one track, it's very emotional and it's hard to listen to without being pulled back in time emotionally to that place. But the rest of the album, I listen to that album, I go, nailed it, love it. Like, this is, if I didn't know this guy, I would buy this album. And even if no one else does, I know I like what we produced. And I think that's really important.
Yeah, you are totally right. It's like each song we have exactly 10 songs on the album. And I would say that each song is just like, there's no other way it could be done in the other way. It is what it is. And I mean, I personally like the outcome, and Karina is like, she's very glad to be hearing what we've recorded already. And I think it's a great luck. I mean, as a producer, I had some other projects when there's not like just an album, there's just one song, and it takes like a lot of time. You just keep revising it, you just keep adding stuff, you just keep deleting stuff, you just keep like doing versions, just because the person you are doing this project for is not like, satisfied with how it sounds. And in terms of that, I'm just repeating again, it's a great luck that that we met each other, and that we started working with each other.
Huge. My current producer, Tim Lehane, same thing. We met, we just connect, and everything he does is spot on with what I would want to have done, and we just have that shared language. It makes it so much easier. I've certainly tried to work with some folks that just wasn't going to happen because we didn't have that bridge and that symbiosis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, we are at the hour and a half, so I have a little thing I call the mystic moment where I do my sagely advice weekly. So I'm going to hit that section, and then we'll be right back.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to Sunday Live with Caleb. Greatly appreciate you listening and posting comments. If you have any comments for our guest today, please put him in the message bot either on Facebook, YouTube, or on Twitch. And this week's theme is One World. This is my first time having an episode that's outside the United States and outside of the English-speaking countries. We did have one guest who appeared on an earlier show from the UK, but we're talking halfway around the world right now about music, about production. It has become a small world. When I did the booking, I didn't realize he had returned to Kazakhstan, there wasn't like, oh, I'm in Kazakhstan now, I can't do the show. It was like, I'm in Kazakhstan, no problem. How small the world is now, and really how small it always really was. It was just that we didn't have the perspective that the technology is bringing to us to show us that we all live on the same round rock, the same blue marble, one world, and we're more connected than ever before. So if in these times you're feeling isolated or disconnected or adventurous and just want to explore more of the world, I highly encourage you, just do random searches in YouTube on different countries around the world and find out about all your fellow humans on this amazing journey. That's your mystic moment for the week. And we are now going to go into After Party and talk a little bit more about Kazakhstan. And we will have to wrap up in, I'd say, 15, 20 minutes. But if you can stay with us longer, stay with us and find out more about Diaz Adil and the area of the world that he grew up in. You're now entering the after party, where you loosen the shirt and talk about broader subjects. So during the last segment, I love maps. I would sit in school while the teacher was talking about whatever. It didn't matter if it was English or math. I wasn't listening to them either way. And I would be just staring at the maps. There were these big rolls of maps on the walls, and different people would have left some of them up there, and maybe a history class was once in that classroom, and they just never took them off the wall. I just loved studying them, and geography and geopolitics and just the planet. To me, it's like, it's this ball with topography and parameters as a unit. Is just how ever since I was a kid I saw it. So I love finding out about new places. And again, I've known of Kazakhstan all this time. I've watched plenty of Soyuz capsules landing in the steppes and all this sort of thing. And the Almaty?
Yep, Almaty.
Am I getting it better?
Yeah,
Almaty.
you're just nailing it.
I didn't know anything about Almaty. I knew about the capital, the current capital, but I didn't know about this region, the old capital city in the southeast, and its role with the Silk Route from China to Europe and the Middle East. And so this was a great time to not only get to know you better, get to know your music better, but actually to get to know the area that you grew up in better.
What could I say about Almaty is just, it's always a kind of a different feeling when you are coming back to the city where you were actually studying. So I actually did my bachelor degree in Almaty, in Kazakh British Technical University, and that's one of the reasons why this city is so much close to me, and some of the greatest times were spent where I was having in Almaty. And whenever I come back to Almaty, it's always great and always fun experience. I have a lot of friends out there, and as I told you before, Almaty is the creative capital of Kazakhstan. I would say it's pretty much like an LA in California. There's like a San Francisco where all the tech people are, and there's LA where all the media people are, like, people doing movies, doing music, doing art and stuff. And Almaty is just like kind of this kind of a city, I would say. There's a lot of great people out there. They are open to, explorations. They're open to experiments. They are doing some new stuff compared to the other cities. Also, it's open for all of the subcultures. I would say there's a lot of them. And one other thing that makes Almaty a great city is that the nature of Almaty is just so much beautiful. For example, right now I'm based in Aktau, which is West Kazakhstan. I was born and raised in Atrau, which is also West Kazakhstan city. If you recall from that song, this is I would say Black Petroleum capital, Atrau, my own hometown. Now I'm visiting Aktau, which is just like 1 hour away if you are traveling by a plane. And the nature here on the Western Kazakhstan, it's not it's there's not that much trees. Mainly it's like a steppe and sand. While in Almaty, there's mountains, there's canyons, there's a lot of green, there's a lot of trees out there. And that's why Almaty is just a go-to place. I would say if you're planning to visit Kazakhstan in the future, just start from Almaty. You won't be disappointed. There's a lot of stuff to do out here.
Cool. I am hoping a year from now we'll be traveling again, and I will get to explore. And I actually lined up a little promo video on Almaty, so I'm going to play that now so folks can get a visual on what you're describing.
Welcome to Almaty. Almaty, the city at the foot of the Tian Shan Mountains on the Great Silk Road, is celebrating its 1000th birthday. It is the city of active, purposeful, sporting and hospitable people, which is situated in Kazakhstan, the very center of the Eurasian continent. Almaty International Airport is the largest airport in the country that handles more than 4 million passengers and thousands of flights from all over the world. Just imagine, the sunniest and the most picturesque corner of the planet, sporting snowy peaks and squares surrounded by greens, parks and streets. That is Almaty. As a cultural capital of the country, this city is filled with various monuments of architecture, theaters and museums. The flagship of music art of Kazakhstan is considered to be Kazakh State Academic Theatre of Opera and Ballet, named after Abay, which has been pleasing guests and the people of South Capital for 82 years with very sounding and thrilling premieres of opera and ballet art. And the other one is Kazakh Dramatic State Theatre, named after Mukhtar Awezov, from which state it opens the national culture to the world and begins our acquaintance with perennial history of our country. You can get acquainted with historical artifacts in the museums of Almaty. One of the Central Asian region is the Central State Museum of Kazakhstan, where the expositions of all periods of life of Kazakh people are presented from the era of inception to the present day. The richest history of the country of the great explorers is collected here. Favorite vacation spot of townspeople is park named after the first president of the Republic of Kazakhstan, which is located in a picturesque place. which shows the nature of Almaty. On the area of hectares, more than 110,000 trees of different species are planted. In the park, there is the city's largest singing fountain with light decor. Patriotic City Park is the park of 28 Pamphilov guardsmen founded in the late 19th century, when Almaty was still known as Verny. Also in the city there are lots of other comfortable and green parks where you can not just breathe the fresh mountain air, but also ride on attractions. As a centre cluster of creative individuals is considered to be armoured pedestrian area. Here you can see a variety of paintings by artists, modern dance, growth figures, and enjoy the performance of street musicians. One of the symbols of Almaty and the whole Kazakhstan is Koktebel Park. Located at the peak of the mountain of the same name, it offers the best view of the city. In Koktebel, there is first and only monument of legendary Liverpool band, the Beatles, and there are also a lot of attraction. It is no secret that Almaty is a storehouse of winter activities, and the city's cold side is the largest in the world. Medea Air Alpine skating rink, when up 3,000 people can skate at the same time. Above Medea, in the gorge of Trans-Ili Alatau, there is the most popular ski resort Shimbulak. You can get there on the gondola road, enjoying the mountain scenery and beautiful slopes. On Shimbulak, the trail of snowboarding and skiing are provided both for professionals and for beginners. It is worth noting that the choice of a location for winter skating is not limited to one Shimbulak. Near Almaty, there are a lot of other ski resorts and alpine resorts. For example, Agbuak, Tabagan, Pioneer, Elixai, Forest Tail, and others. The national emblem of Almaty city is snow leopard, also known as Ibis, that lives on the high peaks of Ili Alatau. Almaty today, it's a business, an economic and a financial center of Kazakhstan. Here are the National of KZ, K Stock Exchange, head offices of major industrial companies, all leading bank and insurance companies. Arriving in Almaty, you can be sure that from the available more than 90 hotels, you'll find the appropriate one by its comfort and price. Some hotels of the city belong to the large international hotel chains, such as the Ritz-Carlton, Rixos Almaty, and International, Intercontinental. The pride of the town is a magnificent hotel, Kazakhstan. You can take a break from the bustle of the city in a campsite located in the Trakturgen. In the vicinity of the city, you can find the natural pearls that you have to see with your own eyes. Closest to Almaty, on the northern slopes of the Trans-Ili Alatau, there is the National Natural Park Ili Alatau, to which the big Almaty Lake belongs, where you can relax with your family by the crystal clear turquoise water and trying to find constellation on the sky expanse. Charin Canyon, built of sandstone sedimentary rocks, is not interior to the famous Grand Canyon. In Charin River, the aloes and rafting competitions are often held. Trogdi, a wonderful creation in nature, is a floated birch forest Kaindi. In its place, there used to be trees, but now they are in the middle of the lake, giving it unusual view. Next to it there are national natural Kolsai Koldere, Kolsai lakes, surrounded by pine forest. One of them is the Upper Kolsai, located at about 3,000 meters height. Go on a journey to the falls of Burhan Bulak. Here you will discover a unique view of the largest waterfall in the Seven Rivers, which from the height of 111 meters spews fresh glacial meltwater. In the western part of the Trans-Ili Alatau, there is Plateau Ushkone. Here is the one of the most famous in the CIS deltadromes. On the northern edge of the plateau, on the part of the valley, there is a broad peak of triceps, which was noticed and chosen for hang glider fly. There is no bars or road of the propeller turbines under the wind and the lemon space of the fifth ocean round. Here you can take a flight in a balloon just across the sky and you quietly enjoy the beautiful views. Almaty is the closest major city where you can get to the heart of the sky mountains Tian Shan. The highest point of Kazakhstan is the majestic peak of Han Tengri. Each year, the brave climbers challenge themselves to get to this peak. It takes about 24 days to climb up for trained athletes. The largest reservoir in Kazakhstan is Kapchagai Reservoir. Almaty people prefer to relax there in the summer. In Almaty, a number of activities are held each year, such as Apple Fest, Eurasia Film Festival, and the Parade of Orchestra, Nowruz, Flowers Festival, and Almaty is my first love. This city is the birthplace for worldwide known Aport apple, which became the symbol of Almaty and still grows on the foothills of Trans-Ili Alatau. Those who are fond of nightlife can visit hundreds of clubs, bars and restaurants in Almaty. Welcome to Almaty.
There you go. Are you unmuted?
Yep.
Oh, yep, you're unmuted. So yeah, that was a little tourist video I found on YouTube, and I thought it would give some context to the region that you're calling in from, and the diversity of the landscape just in Almaty is incredible.
Yeah, as I said, there's a Great Canyon, Charin Canyon, which is the second biggest canyon after the Great Canyon in the US. And also there is a mountains, there's a Tanshan, there's a Hantengri, and it's a pretty green city. It's big, it's old. As you could see, it was celebrating its 1000th birthday. And as you mentioned before, it was right on the path of the Silkway. So it used to be a great city before, and it's a great city right now. Before it was having a name of Verni, which you could, translate to English like loyal. Yeah. And back in time, it after was renamed to Alma Ata. Actually, current name of the city, Almaty, is just short way of saying Alma Ata. So basically, if you just translate that like directly, that's gonna be like Apple granddad. Sounds weird, I know, but
Apple granddad.
Yeah. I mean, we call it like Apple City as well. As you could see, there's type of apples, apple breed or like sort of apples that's called Aport, and it's famous for being made like in Almaty, and it adds up to the city like
And this is, to my knowledge, actually where apples enter into Western culture was through Almaty, through Afghanistan, and then into Kazakhstan, and then from Kazakhstan, apples went out to the world.
Yep. Yeah, that's correct.
This is a very old thing. It's not like, oh, we just had this variety of apples. No, you're you're right there in history of the history of the apple. So there's this discussion that the Garden of Eden must have been in eastern Kazakhstan or Afghanistan because it had apples, according to the story.
Didn't hear about this one. Interesting.
You're in the center of the world, my friend, and really, it's a it's such a crossroads location. And I feel my fellow Americans have very limited sense of time and history. And we're like, oh, our city's just celebrating its thousandth year birthday, and,
Yeah.
and we're like, that was in ancient times, like 100 years ago. And you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
just walking around
Yeah.
a city that's 1,000 years old, no big deal. Or even when Americans go to Europe for the first time, and
Mhm.
there's a Roman cathedral there, a Roman structure there. That's over 1,000 years. Okay, I don't think we really can compute 1,000. It's just too big of a number for our sense of time. Growing up, I always cringe when I'd hear people say, like back in the olden days, like in that English time. It's like Shakespeare. Yeah, that Shakespeare time, those ancient Shakespeare times. I'm like, that's only 500 years ago. It's 400 or 500 years ago tops. And that type of English is called modern English.
Oh, wow.
And they'll say, oh, that's old English. No, that's not old English. Old English sounds more like German. So I love the opportunity to share this with my audience, and to say, hey, folks, there's a big old world out there, and go check it out.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the
Thank
time
you
we
for
have
doing
for
that.
this week. Thank you so much. What was that?
Yeah, I was just saying that thank you for showing these visuals about Almaty, about Kazakhstan. Uh, I mean, it helps to, pretty much visualize where is that located, even, to get a sense of how great Almaty is. And also, I would like to thank you for inviting me out here to providing me with an opportunity to show my works, to show my music. It's been a great experience, and it was also nice to meet you. I'm glad that we have Forrest as our friend as well, who kindly connected us together. Thank you.
Forrest, one of those really cool people who is just genuinely like nice and wouldn't know how not to be.
Yeah.
And who just connects people, and she's a real cool person. We had her on an earlier episode about a month ago, and got to share her story. So, folks, check out earlier episodes. You'll get to meet Forrest. And Sharon Post, thank you for sharing your music with us.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you. I'm glad you liked it. Thank you so much.
And thank you for being on the show, and you're absolutely welcome. And I look forward to having you on the show again, maybe in a year when you have your big piece done, or maybe when this album with your friend comes out.
That's for sure. I would be really glad to share after it's completed.
Very cool. All right, man. You have a great Monday. I'm going to finish up my Sunday here in the past.
Yeah. Back in
Ciao.
the past.
Have a good one.
Ciao. Have a great weekend. See ya.
Thank you for watching Sunday Live with Caleb with it's funny. The tragedy of being an American is if a word is a little complicated, we have challenges with it. So our guest today, Adil. I'm not going to even try. But anyhow, thank you for watching, and greatly appreciate your support and everybody tuning in and supporting our guests. I get feedback from our guests all the time that they really enjoy the fact that they're getting a new audience for their work, and that you guys are saying such cool things in the comments and sharing the love of their work. Greatly appreciated. All right, you guys stay safe out there this week, And if you're interested in checking out some of my work, you know where to find me. Facebook, Caleb Duarte. I've got 3 bands on Bandcamp, and each of those have YouTube channels. That is the Caleb Band, the Outer Terrace Band, and the Cuir Bleu, which is French for blue leather band. And check them out sometime, and we'll see you next week.